Welcome to the back pew. So here we are. It is the middle of December, and boy, is life busy. How's it going for you? How are these days? I know there's lots to do. Shopping, baking, packing, decorating, serving beyond ourselves. There's so much to be involved in, and special activities, parties and events. There's so much going on. It's easy to get overwhelmed. Yet in these days before Christmas, how is it with your soul? How is it with your faith? With your relationship with God? You see, in these days prior to Christmas, it's a season of Advent, a season of waiting for the one who is to come. Now that historically, as we celebrate the nativity of Jesus, but also we in faith are a people who are waiting for Jesus' return. A return where Jesus will fulfill all of the promises and restore all back to God. It's going to be a great and glorious day. So how are you as you're waiting? Well, in this Advent season, we hear from St. Paul. Paul wrote to the church in Thessalonica, gave them a number of things to think about. And then when he comes to the ending of that letter, as he's wrapping it up, he says to them, "And the God who called you is faithful and will do these things." Now, what Paul had just said was that Jesus would return on that great and glorious day. And Paul gives this word of hope to a people who are struggling to live out God's values in the world by saying, the one who called you, you're called. Wherever you're at today, whatever you're doing, whatever you might be feeling or struggling with or rejoicing over, you are a person who has been called by God. Called to belong to God, to be restored to God, to be filled with God's love and grace and to live that out. And you don't do this on your own. You do this with God right there with you. That's a word of hope for us. A word of hope in a season that for many of us can be very stressful. For many of us it can be difficult. So Paul gives us that word of hope. The one who called you. What's it mean for you that you are called? That God knows you by name. That God has forgiven your sins in Jesus Christ. And that God has claimed you as one of God's very own. What's it mean as you go through these days in how you live, with what you're doing with your life? That's why I asked, how is it with your soul? I invite you, as we go through this season, as we light the Advent wreath, we have 2 candles lit and we're on the journey toward that fulfillment. Ask the question and remember you're called and dare to live radical hope. Hope, because the God who loves us, the God who has come to us in Jesus, will be faithful and fulfill all the promises. Let us be a people of hope. I look forward to seeing you this weekend at First Lutheran Church in wonderful Galveston, Texas. Hope to see you here, 5:30 on Saturday or 10 o'clock on Sunday. Have a blessed rest of your week. And if the back pew's been meaningful, pass it along to help somebody else think about this stuff too. Blessings.